What is the latest with Jim Harbaugh? Expected to be in Minneapolis today, meeting with Vikings ownership and the general manager there, who he had a previous relationship with in San Francisco. We're all under the impression if he is offered the job, he will take it. What does that mean now? What happens next? We don't know, but he's got some convincing to do. John U. Bacon, Braylon, on Twitter today gave really, I think, the most perfect backstory that I've seen of anybody earlier today, just adding context to this visit in Minnesota and all the things that could happen, all the dominoes that can fall, all the convincing that has to happen, all the seriousness in which Jim Harbaugh has taken this interview. So, without further ado,
let's bring
him in. Here he is, John U. Bacon, on with us live now. Mr. Bacon, good afternoon to you, my friend.
John, to you.
And to you. Snow day with my kid home. Hello, Teddy.
Yes, that's fantastic. Snow days all around. You'll probably get another one tomorrow. But, John, let me just start with this because I think there was a connection to the Raiders earlier. Whatever happened, that didn't happen. Jim Harbaugh seems intent on getting another job with an NFL team, going back to the NFL. The why, I guess we can ask. But what is going to happen today? I thought you put on Twitter, added so much context to it. What is your take on what has to happen today for Jim Harbaugh to get this opportunity with the Vikings?
Well, these interviews, as Braylon knows, I'm sure, the NFL stuff, man, these things are marathons. It's a 9-hour day, apparently, and I've done some interviews like that on the other side. It's exhausting. So, of course, Jim's got more energy than most, but he'll be going through the whole car wash, if you will, the whole Will family as others, the GM, of course. Got to answer two main questions, as I understand it. One, why go with a 58-year-old man when everyone else is going with a 42-year-old guy? These days, the youth movement is upon us. So are you modern enough to handle the current NFL game, having been out for 7 years? The second question is, do you play well with others? Are you difficult to work with? That's the line that Jed York, the owner of the 49ers, and the nephew of Eddie DeBartolo Jr., that's the line that he's been pumping to every owner who will listen, and of course others as well. So if you can do that successfully, I believe got to be 80-90% at least that he'll be offered the job. 100% he'll take it, as you've already reported, Ryan, correctly, I think, that he'll take it. And then tomorrow, a whole different discussion, isn't it? So that's the most likely scenario unless something goes sideways.
John, let me ask you about why Jim Harbaugh wants to go back to the NFL. We hear about the salary cut in half last year, maybe a drive to win a Super Bowl, perhaps like his brother. Maybe that's just something, as Rocky Balboa said, that's something left in the basement. I got something left in the basement. Was it that? Is it this new age of college football with NIL, where he sees Alabama, he sees Georgia, and he's just like, we're not set up to win like that here at Michigan. Why do you think he has entertained this thought to go back to the NFL, as real as it is now?
Well, Ryan, to answer your very well laid out multi-part question, yes. How's that?
All of it.
Satisfied.
That all the above, basically. A few things stand out. I never heard him complain publicly or even privately about his contract last year, and I thought if you're 2-4, Ward's got to do something with 1 year left in your contract. Ward Manuel, the AD at Michigan, of course. I wrote at the time, and I still maintain it was a fair deal with a lot of incentives. And if you want to insult me at $4 million, go right ahead. So it's all relative, of course. But after he did it, I don't know if the bear hug followed. I think the offer on the table right now is said to be good, solid, certainly in range. But I think the relationship between Ward and Jim is a little strained. I wouldn't call it dysfunctional. But there's, that's got to happen in this mix. You mentioned the lack of a level playing field. That is a much bigger deal, I think, Harbaugh, than has been reported. Look, you say something like it's hard to beat the cheaters, as he did in my previous book, Overtime. He gets a ton of crap for that. Tell me it's not true. So there's that aspect as well. NIL, of course, is going to make what was already illegal is now legal. And guess what? The SEC is way ahead of the Big Ten on this one. So that's going to be tough, I think. And I think the bigger thing is your Rocky Balboa basement line is probably the biggest thing. Look, when Harbaugh took the job at Michigan in 2014, he told Jim Hackett the interim AD at the time who hired him, that I promise you 7 years, and I still have some unfinished business in the NFL. Well, this is 7 years, and that's the NFL. So this might be his last chance to take that dive. And it's a bit instructive to find out at 12-2, your first big win over Ohio State, convincing win in the Big Ten title game, got an invitation to the football playoff, and of course got crushed by Georgia, but so did Alabama, I guess. That really only one team that we know of is this serious. So it shows you how few opportunities there might be in the NFL. So this might be, in some ways, his last chance to grab it. So break it all down, I'd probably rank them in reverse order. NFL appeal first, lack of level playing field second, and a realization after last year that the fans are fickle and the AD can be as well, and you're 1, 2, and 4 year away from blowing up, basically.
Talking to John U. Baker, one of the good friends of the show, author of Let Them Lead, New York Times bestseller. Also, don't be too sure that Ohio State is not close to SEC in terms of cheating. No, but I got a question. I'm going to more so talk about the Michigan aspect of things. I appreciate that. The Michigan aspect of things is, now if he doesn't get the job in Minnesota and he doesn't get one of the vacancies, what happens when he comes back? Like, how is he received by players? How is he received by family of the players and the organization, or the family as well? That is Michigan. It seems like he's just grasping at a get out, and here we are, and now he doesn't get one. How does he receive when he comes back?
I would not want to be on that plane ride back. That would be unpleasant, uncomfortable, and so on. It's possible. As I said, I don't think it's quite a done deal. So that's not impossible. And look, you know better than anybody, billionaire owners can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, this is their Xbox, basically. This is their toy. So who knows? They decide. I would say a few things. One, the players would probably be more sympathetic to him exploring an option than the fans will be. My old joke, of course, is some Michigan fans aren't happy unless they're not happy. They find things to complain about. Well, now you got one. 20-30% will probably be in his camp no matter what. The players will be more forgiving, I think. But here's the problem going forward. One, on the one hand, I can say, look, as far as lame duck goes, what was last year? Hell, you got a do-or-die contract, and they went 12-2. So as lame duck as that was, you got a great staff together with adding Mike Hart and Ron Bellamy, some real stars in there, I think. And they went 12-2, so who knows? Flip side is, in the past, the previous 7 years, these rumors, as we all know, NFL rumors, came up every single weekend. Michigan won on Saturday, and some NFL team lost on Sunday. And if it's Indianapolis or Chicago, he's going there on Monday. So we're used to all that. The difference this time is I never saw Jim's fingerprints anywhere near any of those things. They were started by NFL teams, by agents, by media, by opposing coaches to negatively recruit, but never by Jim. In this case, Jim has clearly put his hat in the ring, and he can no longer say you have no interest. So that would be, I think, tougher going forward than it has been so far. I think it's doable. He did it last year under different circumstances. But would it be hard? Oh, hell yeah, it'd be hard. But never bet against him, I guess.
I will almost fully agree with you that billionaires can do everything they want, with the exception of pay for their own stadiums, but that's neither here nor there.
Well played.
Boom.
Ding, 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 ding.
Hey, John, I wanted to ask you about the Will family, the owners of the Vikings. You mentioned in your text thread, which was awesome, there is a minority owner in Minnesota that's against him, as well as Jed York and the people in San Francisco. And it all stems from Jim Harbaugh not getting along with Trent Baalke. He wanted him fired. They wouldn't do it. But then when they fire Harbaugh, they wind up firing Baalke anyway. I mean, what's your take on this whole thing? Do you think he gets this job today?
I do. Now, keep in mind, that's a 9-hour marathon. You're meeting with a lot of people and a lot of conversations, and I'm not in any of them. So I can't tell you how it's going. So anything's possible. I want to have that caveat out there. But, man, they don't fly him up on National Signing Day knowing the sacrifice that is for Jim. So you're showing your cards. You're going all in at that point. They would not do that for giggles, I don't think. So I think they are serious about it. My limited sources up there, admittedly, tell me that they are serious about it. I think the Baalke stuff does not go very far because he's now in Jacksonville and having a hell of a time, obviously. And, of course, Jed York, owners probably listen to owners in many cases, but until it gets old. There is the minority owner there, Jim Stapleton, former trustee at EMU, guy I know, who was a Michigan alumnus as well. who is not a fan of Jim Harbaugh's, and he's made that clear. But he's also a minority owner in terms of, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's 5 or 10%, somewhere in there. So the Will family does not have to listen to him per se. If he survives those two things with the general manager in his back, in his corner, and whatever interview skills he brings to the table, then he should survive it. Again, if they found those comments from Jed York or from Jim Stapleton overwhelming, he would not be in Minneapolis right now. So he can overcome that, is my guess.
All right, John, here's just a quick two-parter, quick ones. Jim Harbaugh, he's got his quarterback now if he stays in Minnesota. He's got a Michigan State guy in Kirk Cousins. Can those two work together? And part B, Michigan, they've kind of know this was coming. Who's the leader in the clubhouse to take over?
Great questions. I'll be as quickly as I can. The Michigan State thing, no problem whatsoever. These are professionals. What Jim wants is a quarterback, and you have one, of course, in Kirk Cousins. And I think Kirk Cousins would say the same thing. He wants to win, period. When I first saw Jim in 2014, first time in years, he was in Traverse City for the wedding of one of his former NFL players who had gone to Michigan State. So it ain't no thing. And Braylon, man, in the league's the league. You might razz each other, but
with the exception of Cleveland. I said, with the exception of teams in Ohio, they don't seem to be able to get over that Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. They're like the only one. Everybody else, LSU, the Saints, and Georgia and Alabama, but something about Ohio. Yeah, but you're right.
You're
absolutely right.
At that point too, that's part of it. But who's next? Great parlor game question that will fill your airwaves for the next week or so. Internally, the two obvious ones I would say would be Josh Gaddis, the OC, who of course won the award for Assistant Coach of the Year. The Royals Award. Right behind him is Michael Hart, and great guy. Already done a hell of a job at Western Michigan, Indiana, now at Michigan with tailbacks, but he's not even been a coordinator yet. He's 3 to 5 years away from being ripe, if you will. But what I'm hearing is it's possible he could leapfrog Gaddis in the hierarchy. I'm hearing that from a few different sources. Who knows till you're even in that situation. Other candidates out there have got to be Matt Campbell, Iowa State. Luke Fickell, I've been told, would certainly take the phone call. And that would be a Bo-esque move to pull in a guy from Ohio who can recruit Ohio. And it's clearly done. By the way, I missed on him. When he went 6-7 that interim year at Ohio State, I thought, man, this guy can't coach, because between him is a 10-win year and a 12-2 year or 12-0 year with Urban Meyer, and I was dead wrong about that one. Add Bill O'Brien, Penn State coach for 2 years. I was in that locker room, saw him do a hell of a job keeping that program together. He's a Brown graduate. That'll appeal to the regents and all that. So other candidates out there as well. Man, right now it could be anyone. But as we say, as I always say, they're both going to be 1-0. Ward Manuel, everyone, and that's it. So no committee here.
Hey, John, last question. 24 hours ago, if you and I talked and Jim Harbaugh got an offer from Minnesota, would Stephen Ross then give him a call, and would Miami be an option for him 24 hours ago? And now, with all the turmoil going on with that situation, is that off the table? Would Stephen Ross even make that call now? Because he said he was not going to be responsible for taking Jim Harbaugh away from Michigan, but if he's going to the Vikings, why not get in on him at that point? But would Harbaugh even entertain Miami with all the turmoil going on there now?
My strong sense is no and no.
Mm-hmm.
The turmoil, I would have said that without the turmoil, but the turmoil is real. The turmoil is going to be a serious story for some time. It may, actually jeopardize Ross's control of the program. I would say no, but and I was also told that by some sources down there who know it well, that he has doubled down on his determination not to interfere with the process. That said, Ryan, it was about 9 days ago, I think it was, or 8 days ago, on Tuesday of last week, January 24th, at the end of one of my little updates, I said, and keep an eye on Minnesota. That was a flyer. I don't think anyone else said that at the time. I didn't take it all that seriously at that time, but what the hell? I've been hearing a couple of things. If you told me then that he's going to Minnesota a week later, which may well be the case right now, I would never have believed that. So who the hell knows anything?
The great John U. Bacon, New York Times best-selling author. If you haven't read his latest book, buy it now. Let Them Lead: Unexpected Lessons in Leadership from America's Worst High School Hockey Team. Lessons in leadership for sure. If you are a boss, if you want to be a boss, if you're a coach, read it. Buy the book. The great John U. Bacon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Always a pleasure, guys.
You still got to have that meal, man. I'm telling you, you still got to have that meal.
It's ready.
I got you covered.
All right.